He came for plants. Observation log. E.T. He died here. He came back. And when the moment came to leave, he made a choice. I have not been able to file correctly since. There are two kinds of visitors to this planet: those who arrive with a purpose, and those who arrive with a purpose and find something that changes what purpose means. The individual in this file belongs to a civilization I have encountered before, ancient, methodical. Their research operations have run without incident across more star systems than I have personally visited. On Earth, one of them was left behind. He deteriorated. Every biological indicator went quiet. He came back. And when the moment came to leave, he made a choice that has no name in any taxonomy I have access to. 6 signals. Let us begin. 6. A botanical research team. Earth. Night. Routine operation. This species has collected samples across dozens of systems. Arrive, catalog, return. Their civilization has been present in this region for something in the range of 10 million years. They are good at this. They do not make mistakes. One member wanders further from the ship than the others. Not because something malfunctions, not because he is lost, because he stops to watch the lights in the valley below. A human neighborhood, windows glowing, movement inside. Something about it holds him in place longer than a mission allows. The ship detects a threat. The call to return goes out. Everyone boards. He does not. He is standing in a forest, alone, on a planet whose atmosphere is incompatible with his biology, whose dominant species has never encountered his kind, and whose most common response to the unfamiliar is, from my observations, not always characterized by patience. He was not left behind by accident. He was left behind by curiosity. I have filed this distinction carefully. It is the most important line in this entire case. 5. A 10 million year civilization, 6 weeks on Earth. That is what his biology was given to work with. On his homeworld, a member of this species likely lives for centuries. Here, the conditions are simply wrong. Different atmosphere, different gravity, different light. His skin changes color, brown to gray, his chest dims. The glow that appears tied to his emotional state fades, like something running low on what it needs. And yet, there is a detail in the biological record I keep returning to. While his own indicators are declining, he remains capable of directing whatever reserves he has outward, toward others. A small cut on the boy's hand. One touch. The finger glows, the wound closes. A being who cannot sustain his own baseline, still choosing to spend what remains on someone else. I have logged this as significant. I will only note that in most species I have observed, self-preservation is the last function to go. In a completely different species, the Vorath, from beyond the Mira cluster, I once observed something structurally similar. A researcher left behind. Their people returned centuries later. He had built a bridge spanning 3 mountain ranges from local materials, dying the entire time, not stopping. The pattern, it seems, is not unique to one species. It may be unique to a certain kind of being. 4. His species crosses star systems for routine research. They understand botanical life at a molecular level. Interstellar travel is, for them, a Tuesday. On Earth, he was hiding in a closet. He learned language from a television. He communicated his most urgent need, get me home, using a speak and spell, an umbrella, a coffee can, and aluminum foil from the kitchen. I will pause here to note it worked. The coffee can worked. I attempted something similar once, with local materials during my first months on this planet. I will not describe the results. They were not comparable. The coffee can remains, from my perspective, a more impressive engineering achievement than anything I produced in that period. Most beings in that situation would wait, would conserve, would stop until the correct tools arrived. He built a transmitter from what was in the garage. There is a word for this. I have not yet settled on which one. 3. He came to collect plant samples. He ended up as one. When his presence was discovered by authorities, hazmat suits, quarantine, medical examination, the boy removed, the house sealed. He was already deteriorating. The examination did not help. He was connected to equipment, monitored, studied. I have attempted to file this correctly. The closest category I located was irony. But irony implies observation from a comfortable distance. I am not at a comfortable distance. There is one additional detail worth noting. The lead authority figure, The man who ordered the quarantine spent his childhood believing. He says so himself. He has been waiting for this since he was a small boy. The child who once looked up at the sky grew up to become the man who ordered the hazmat suits. I have logged that one separately. I have not closed it either. 2. Every biological indicator goes quiet. His chest goes dark, his skin goes cold, and then his chest begins to glow again. The signal from the coffee can reached his ship. His people are coming back, and his body responds before they arrive, as if the knowledge alone is enough to close a circuit that had been open since the night the ship left without him. Human researchers have documented something adjacent to this in social species. The observation that the nervous system in certain organisms does not fully regulate itself alone. It requires the presence of others to complete its baseline function. Connection is not an emotional luxury. It is a biological requirement. His baseline had been incomplete for weeks. The moment it closed, he came back. Something about this keeps presenting itself as open. I am beginning to think that is not a flaw in my system. Signal 1. The ship is waiting. His people are there. So is the boy. Before I document what happens at the forest's edge, I should mention what happened on the way there. They were being pursued. Vehicles, authorities, no clear path forward. His biological indicators had only just returned. He had weeks of deterioration behind him, a death behind him, and a coffee can transmitter behind him. He lifted them into the sky, bicycles, children, over a California suburb, against a full moon. The complete range of what his species is capable of. Deployed not in any context his civilization would recognize as appropriate. Deployed for a group of small humans on bicycles, in the dark, who had kept him alive long enough to get here. He used everything he had for them. And then, at the forest's edge, he does not ask the boy to come. He touches the boy's forehead. He says 4 words, "I'll be right here." And he boards the ship. What I have not yet mentioned, the boy said those words first. Earlier, when this being was frightened and alone and did not yet know if anyone was coming back. A small human child offering comfort to something older and stranger than he could possibly understand. The words were a gift. They were kept. And at the moment of departure, returned. He did not invent a farewell. He gave back exactly what he had been given because he understood it was the only thing that would make the distance survivable. He absorbed the cost of the goodbye so the boy would not have to carry it. Humans are, from everything I have observed, the only matter in this region of the universe that names what it cannot keep. He understood this. He held the name, then he gave it back. That is not what abandonment looks like. That is what it means to be E.T. What I find worth documenting, beyond the deterioration, the death, the transmitter built from a coffee can, is a pattern that runs underneath all of it. Every time he had something left to give, he gave it to someone else. The healing, the flight, the farewell. Not one of those moments was about getting home. They were all about making sure the ones around him would be all right after he was gone. That is not what a stranded traveler looks like. That is what a certain kind of being looks like. One I have encountered rarely, across many systems, and never twice in the same form. When the ship left, it drew a line across the sky, a streak of color, visible for a moment, then gone. I have documented departure signatures across dozens of species. Most leave nothing. Some leave damage. A very small number leave something that, in the right light, looks like a gift. This one left a rainbow, which means one possibility remains. He came to collect plants. He found something he had no category for. He called it Elliot. I have been on this planet considerably longer than he was. I have also found things I have no category for. I used to consider that a limitation. I no longer do.